What's up, G.I. Joe fans? Welcome back to the M.I.B. Master Museum. I'll be your curator today. Guys, it's vehicle cleaning time again at the museum. We had 2 more vehicles that were scheduled to be cleaned today. And I wanted to kind of get these out of the way. And in the process, I said, you know what, while we have these guys out, let's do a video on both of these beautiful figures and vehicles. A side-by-side, if you will, a comparison video. So I wanted to get these guys all cleaned up and dusted off. They have a lot of dust on them, and we pull them out from time to time because the boxes are so massive. We want to do our fair share of intake on them. We want to make sure that they're being properly cared for, and this is that process. And we say, you know, while these guys are out, I've never did a video with both of these guys on the same stage together. So they never shared a stage together. They both have their own individual videos, but never together. So they said, let's do that. These are massive vehicle play sets, if you will. Beautifully made, and the boxes are really cool. And we'll get into a little bit about the design of the boxes, because I think some of the design of the boxes could have been done a little differently. I'm looking at this is our desert. Well, let's introduce our 2 vehicles. This is our G.I. Joe Desert Light Strike vehicle right here. Beautifully done. And this is our Desert Striker Atv. This vehicle is absolutely, positively massive. Just a massive monster, if you will. And this is the Desert Striker ATV is a lot. It's very similar to the Desert Light Strike vehicle. I always say that the Desert Striker ATV, the difference is that it's been put on steroids. It's built up a little bit stronger, more reinforced. It has these 2 extra massive tires, spare tires, if you will. You got one on the other side. And it comes with an additional G.I. Joe. And that was the selling point for this set. This set was very expensive. This set came out, I believe, in 2003, and it ran me well over $100. I've seen this particular Desert Striker ATV sell on eBay for $1,000. One time I saw it go for $800. Another time I saw it go for $600. So it's very expensive because it's so rare now, and it's not being produced anymore. So it's a very difficult figure to get your hands on, a vehicle to get your hands on. But with anything, you can get anything out there. There's nothing that's not obtainable, guys. Everything has its price. And these vehicles are no different. The point is, though, is what are you willing to pay for these vehicles? This Desert Light Strike vehicle right here was my first vehicle that I ever purchased for my G.I. Joe collection. And I've been tracking this particular vehicle in my G.I. Joe Collectors Club monthly subscription. And it had so many dates that kept getting pushed back, release dates that kept getting pushed back. I don't know if I think they wanted to get the figure right, get the vehicle right, whatever terms it was they were trying to do. It kept getting pushed back. And look at the paint job on this Desert Light Strike vehicle. It's so realistic. The sprinkles, it looks like it's got real sand and dirt and dust and grime on it. And all of that is just one gorgeous, elaborate paint job. Beautifully done. But and as you can see, it's got weapons all over the place. Missile rocket launchers and machine guns attached to the front, to the top. It comes with 3 seats. You got somebody who can sit here in the back. You have 2 front seats. It came with 1 driver, 1 G.I. Joe, which was fine. And I bought this from Family Toy, which is no longer in business. And I bought it for nearly $80 at the time, which was, to me, was a fantastic deal for such a massive figure. As you can see, this is still factory sealed. Just a beautiful, beautiful figure. And I honestly thought that this would be the last vehicle that G.I. Joe probably would come out with. It did very well, though. I don't know why I thought that this would be the last one they came out with, because they weren't making, Hasbro was not making vehicles like that for the 12-inch G.I. Joes during that time period. This is 2000, the year 2000. So I hadn't seen it in since 96, 97, 98, 99. So yet 2000. So this was the very first vehicle. So we just, as collectors, we just didn't think there would be any more. And I think Hasbro was trying to gauge exactly the interest, which shouldn't have been too hard, because if you're going to do a beautiful, beautiful vehicle / figure set like this, you're going to get a lot of attention, and the demand is going to be there for a beautiful vehicle like this. Look at the tires are absolutely monstrous. These vehicles were used in the Desert Storm War back in the early 1990s, and they were very extremely effective. The artwork was absolutely, positively gorgeous. These boxes are just gigantic. You would have to be standing here in my museum to really truly grasp and appreciate how monstrous and how large these boxes are. We did a vehicle comparison video with my Humvee armament carrier and our M3 tank destroyer. And these boxes, while they're not as quite as big, they're right there. They can hold their own against those 2 massive, massive monsters. As you can see, these paint scheme on the tires of our Desert Striker ATV. This came out around 2003, and at this point we had a couple more vehicles in our G.I. Joe collection, but I didn't have this one. And when I saw this one, I said, I absolutely, positively have to have it. If I could change anything about this box design, where they have the artwork, I would have put this artwork at the top of the box because you can't see the tire. Made it very tough. And then it has just a massive, going at the top here and look at the equipment list. Just monstrous. Guys, what do you think about our Desert Striker ATV and our Desert Light Strike vehicle comparison review? Do you have these vehicles? Are you looking for these vehicles? Once again, you can find anything on eBay. I believe, I want to say, no. There is a vehicle being sold on Coswell Collectibles as we speak, but it's the light armored vehicle, I believe, that's being sold on Coswell Collectibles. And I don't have that price. I want to say it's between $80 and $100. I'm not quite sure. I want to say it's somewhere around there. It's I think it's more like $100 or so. Expect to pay a lot though. See, our guys are factory sealed in there. You can't go wrong with two figures. These guys pistol on there. Once again, you have all these machine guns. And our guy here at the top. I like the fact that they put a soldier up here, Gijoe up here, where you can actually see him. He's using the that third chair, and this is how you use it. These vehicles were built for speed, for power, and they packed a lot of firepower, as you can see. The difference, not too much. The color scheme. I love the color scheme. The camouflage, the sand camouflage color scheme. He's got his gas can right here. And they have their seats are black. And our Desert Light Strike vehicle chairs are gray. But not too much. The engines are about the same. Everything's about the same. Just a color scheme. You got more of this is a black paint scheme with all the speckles on it. Just a absolute gorgeous figure. He's got his beautiful goggles on, helmet, and you get close enough, you can see he's got the dirty face paint scheme on his face, where the goggles have protected the eyes, but around his face it's got a lot of dust and dirt on it. These guys are out in the elements, and they wanted to kind of show that, but you don't get that with our Desert Striker ATV G.I. Joes. Very clean face. Both got their helmets on. Beautifully done. We want to bring these vehicles out, like I said, from time to time. Every so often, every 4 or 5 months, we'll bring these guys out and check them. Check the box integrity. The integrity of the plastics of the toy, everything about the toy. You just want to check the integrity and see if anything is stressing them out as far as the cardboard. We try not to sit anything on top of them because these boxes are so heavy. You're talking about, oh my goodness, 5, 6, maybe 7 pounds in weight. Very heavy. So they're putting a lot of strain on our staging area here, but not as much as our Humvee armament carrier and our M3 tank destroyer did. We were really concerned about the staging area for those two because they're just extremely massive. I'm trying to get you every angle of these vehicles. You see it's got the running board here where inside you can put something in there. You can actually put another figure. Another G.I. Joe could probably sit inside there. The Desert Striker ATV had a gas can. It came with a gas can and those spare tires up there. But our Desert Light Strike vehicle did not come with a gas can. I don't know what he was going to do for fuel when he ran out. Well, he could borrow some from his brothers over there from the Desert Striker ATV. Guys, it's just me being a kid all over again. When I take these guys out to check them out, make sure that they're not being damaged or anything. It's really cool to just sit here and take it all in, and the memories of purchasing these guys come rushing back. Decades, and it's just so much fun. This was Hasbro at the height of its absolute power with G.I. Joe, producing these massive, monstrous vehicles with all this high-tech weaponry attached to these vehicles. This was Hasbro telling the rest of the toy companies out there, we are simply better than you guys. You guys know it, and we know it. And that was, when you look at these vehicles and these play sets from Hasbro, you can't help but to think anything else. These are some of the most sought after, most desirable vehicles in the G.I. Joe collecting community. These vehicles are absolutely gorgeous. They're desired because the production runs on them probably was extremely low because these were massive toys. So I recall talking to a worker at Toys R Us, where I purchased my Desert Striker ATV at, and he was telling me that their particular store only received 6 of the Desert Striker ATVs. And they came in cases of 2s. So that's how big they were. So each store, you would do the math, each store really probably got 6. The production run on these vehicles are extremely low. So I've heard collectors say that, these are some of the most sought after vehicles, primarily because of that reason. These gigantic vehicle play sets, they were in toy stores, but they weren't produced for the younger demographic. They just weren't. They were not produced for the younger demographic. These vehicle play sets were produced for collectors, and the price on these guys were the indication, was the indicator of that. And by the time the Desert Striker ATV came out and was available for purchase in toy stores, this particular vehicle was over $100. I don't know too many parents that's going to walk into a store and drop $100 on this particular vehicle playset for their kid, who probably would lose, because you're talking about the early 2000s at the time, and this is what I and a few other collectors were talking about. The attention span or the attention to these toys are were being lost at that point because technology, with all the video games and other high-tech toys, kids were losing interest in stuff like this, which is a shame, because the most powerful thing a kid has, and we know this because we were kids, was the power of imagination. To be anybody, to be anywhere, to be able to do anything just by imagining it. And that's what these monstrous, gigantic, beautiful vehicle play sets, represented. So at that time, I was, oh my goodness, I was in my early 30s when these vehicles came out. So I had they came out perfectly. They were designed for me anyway because I was a collector. So, and they've been in our museum collection, ever since. Give you some more close-ups here. Look at the attention to detail. Has hands on he's locked in there pretty good. Really good there. I've been offered for both of these vehicles. I've had collectors, G.I. Joe collectors, offer me money. The highest I've ever was offered was for my Desert Light Strike vehicle. I was offered $1,500 for my Desert Light Strike vehicle, and I turned it down. There's no way I could. He had the cash too. He had the cash, $1,500 in cash. I turned it down. Some things just aren't for sale, But that's how bad this particular G.I. Joe collector wanted this guy. And I was offered, oh my goodness, 2-3 years ago, I think about $2,000 for my Desert Striker ATV. They are sought after, and like I said, they are very, 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 very desirable. Beautiful, beautiful figures. Massive. We'd like to thank you guys for hanging out with us today in our museum. This is what we do. I'm just enjoying myself right now. I'll have to start the cleaning process on these two vehicles in a little bit. So, guys, you know the routine. As always, God bless. And keep collecting.